the story of Underoath from the beginning. I don't even know. I think I was 15 when I met my friend, this guy named Luke Morton, who moved to Ocala because he'd been in some trouble or whatever, and met him at a youth retreat, and me and him started messing around in a band at our church. I never even played anything. I just started playing bass guitar, and this is before, and I'm telling the whole long story. But
Tell everything.
And then we got our friend Matt Adams to do vocals, and we were in a cheesy band called Withdrawal. It was horrible, a Christian band, and we played. We never even got to play a show. We got to play one show ever, and it was at this church thing, and the guy didn't even know what we were doing. He was kind of like, "What's wrong with your microphone? Why does the distortion come through it?" And we were so embarrassed. We didn't know. We're like, "Oh, I didn't know." So that was the only show we ever played. Then Luke Morton moved back to St. Pete, and I think when I got like 17 years old, me and him always talked about doing a band again. And Matt really didn't want to do a band again. Matt was a vocalist, and I was the bass player of the other band, and I wrote the lyrics. And so me and Luke Morton was in another band at the time. He was in two bands. One was Sleep on the Riverside, and then another band he just started. Was one band had a falling out, and that night I was with him when they had the falling out, and I was like, "Man, let's start a band up." So we sat in his bedroom, and he started playing guitar, and I just started writing lyrics. And I thought I was still going to play. No, I knew I was going to do vocals then. I just picked up the vocals. Even when me and him messed around and Matt quit with Withdrawal, I just picked up the mic and started doing vocals. Horrible. And I helped Luke. Me and Luke sat down and he wrote the music. I wrote the lyrics to our first song. I think it was a song called "Unite," and it was about being like united as brothers and as a family, in Christ. And that night, then Luke was like, "Hey, we should, the name of the band should be Underoath," and I was like, "Awesome, cool band name, whatever." And that's how we got the band name. As he basically, me and him started this guy named Luke Morton, and Luke is going to church with a kid named Aaron Gillespie, who never really heard heavy music. I think he'd heard Strong Arm, but he was more into his favorite band was PFR, and we met him at church. Well, I never met Aaron, but Luke drove. Which, man, Aaron's parents, don't even know how they let him go. He was 14 years old. I was living in Ocala, which is 2 hours north of St. Pete, but Luke lived in St. Pete. So when me and him started that night, I was just visiting down in St. Pete. I was still 17, so I was still in school. So Luke got Aaron, and Aaron's parents let him go with Luke 2 hours north to come to my house and practice, and to try out. And Aaron had never even played heavy music really. And he tried out that night, hey, you're in the band, you're going to do it. And, he didn't even have a drum set or drumsticks. He was playing with, I don't even know what it was. It was just pieces of wood. His hands were all bloody from playing so hard that night. And at the time, I was in an alternative band playing bass called Fortress. And so the singer and guitar player of Fortress, we asked to play bass in Underoath. So it was me, Luke Morton, Ray Anasco, who was the singer and guitar player for Fortress, and Aaron. That's how Underoath started. And we played one show. We played a couple shows, I think. And had people. I think someone even filled in one time on bass because Ray couldn't make it. And he didn't. Ray was never in that kind of music. He's an awesome guy. Then I was at a festival, like an indoor fest in Ocala with my band Fortress playing, and I was wearing I think I was wearing a Set Apart t-shirt, or no, I was just wearing a normal t-shirt, and I saw this guy wearing a Set Apart t-shirt, which is an old Florida hardcore band, and I started talking to him, and his name is Corey Steger, and I was like, "Dude, I'm in the band, we have one guitar player, we're looking to have another guitar player." I just met him random at some show, never even, and he goes, "Man, I live an hour north, I'm a Christian, man, I'd love to see what you guys are about." Well, from Corey living an hour north to St. Pete, it's a three-hour drive over 3.5 hours. Well, Corey tried out, and I don't even remember how Corey tried. I think Corey tried out at my, there was a church by my house. That's where he tried everybody out, and they would actually let us break in at night. Like the youth pastor, he taught we know how to break in with a fork, and he would let us. He's like, "Hey, good, you can practice whenever." So we practiced there because I live in the middle of the woods. So Corey tried out, and then Corey was in the band. So it was me, Luke, Aaron, Ray, and Corey, and we actually played a pretty good bit of shows with Ray and the band, and kind of Fortress was getting bigger, And Ray didn't. I mean, he's the lead singer and guitar player of Fortress. He didn't want to keep doing that really, so he kind of was like, "Hey, I'm gonna step down." So as he was stepping down, we had a friend, Octavio Fernandez, who had played in bands before, and I had so much respect for the guy. I mean, he's a guy I looked up to. We asked him to be in the band. He was like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to play with you guys, to play bass." So Octavio joined, and then Ray stepped down, and then we played a lot of shows. We started playing. I started booking shows in Florida for us. Like, got to play with Old Shialoh and like a band called Culture. Just played a lot of hardcore underground shows in Florida, and Luke was going through some problems in his life, and so he kind of stepped down. We had asked him to leave. He was just going through a lot of trouble in his life. So it was me, Octavio, Corey, and Aaron. And Octavio's playing bass, Corey's playing guitar, one guitar player. And our friend Sleep My Riverside was going on tour, and Luke wasn't in Sleep My Riverside anymore either. He had quit. And they were going on tour, and they're like, "Hey, it's either between you and this band called Seed of Oppression," which not even around. And we're like, "Dude, if they don't go, we'd love to do it." So they end up choosing us last minute. We all hop in a van, 4 of us, and I think we took 50 T-shirts on the first tour. It was a week tour. I packed in one of my mom's suitcase. I paid for the merch. And we hopped 2 bands in a 12-passenger van with all the equipment, and did a little tour. And the last day of the tour, we played in Birmingham, Alabama, and met a guy named Chad Johnson who owned a label called Take Hold. And he's like, "Dude, you guys are crazy, one of the craziest bands, I guess," because we used to just beat ourselves. When we first started, we were a pretty crazy band with just destroying stuff and whatever. And he's like, "I'll sign you guys, no contract or anything." He's like, "You guys want to sign?" I'm like, "Sure, dude. Just give us a call." So he gives us a call a few months later, and he's like, "I'll pay for you guys to record." I'm like, "Oh man, this is amazing!" And Sleep My Riverside was already on Take Hold, so we signed with Take Hold. Did our first record, Act of Depression. I think Aaron was still 14. All this happened in a really quick area, within a year, I think, from about a year and a half, I think, to 2 years, maybe a year and a half. I don't even remember, from starting the band to recording our first record. It was really quick. Yeah, I think it was about a year and a half. And so we recorded the first record, Act of Depression, and did a lot of just small shows and little small tours. We went out with a band called Chalice on that record, and did a lot of played a lot of festivals and stuff. Actually did a tour called 40 Days of Disaster. It was us, Narcissist, Tantrum the Muse, Few Left Standing, and us, and did that. And then we knew Corey was kind of going down a different direction than us. We were starting to do more wanting to do still heavy stuff, but Corey is just straight into power metal and metal, and he's kind of "I'm not feeling it anymore, really, guys." And we're still praying about, hey, we didn't want him to leave. It was the hardest thing ever. Well, he finally told us, hey. The night he told us we were playing a show in Tampa, and he goes, "Man, I think I'm just going to be backing down." And so, man, we were just devastated, bawling our eyes out, we thought that was it. Because in that time, wait, hold on, I just jumped a whole long time. Let me bounce back. It's been so many years.
Yeah.
Corey's in the band. Okay, let me bounce back. Because the 40 Days of Disaster tour before that even, man, it's been so many years, I forget. Okay. We're a 4-piece. We're touring. We're kind of still got a lot of hardcore influences. And Corey had the idea, because he's so into metal, hey, let's start putting more metal influences. I was like, that's awesome. So this guy that had been going to tons of our shows, and then I'll pick back up. Sorry where I left off. This guy had been going to our shows for a long time. Chris Deli, which was a big fan of Underoath. I went to high school with him. He was a freshman when I was a senior. And I'd give him tons of tapes and whatever, and he'd end up being one of my good friends, hanging out always with us and going to shows with us. And he would just hang out with us. Well, we said, okay, let's make it more metal or whatever. Let's have fun with it. I started playing keyboards. We played a couple shows playing. Man, I'm gonna get a whole bunch. I forget all this. I started playing keyboards, and then we knew a guy named Matt Clark who was playing drums for Sleep My Riverside. And I'm like, "Dude, you want to play bass in the band?" He goes, "Dude, I'd love to." So. That sounded really cheesy. Dude, you play with dude. I love to. That sounds cheesy. Anyways, he joined the band. So it was a 5-piece. We played, I think, one show, and I was like, "This is the worst thing ever." Playing keyboards and doing both, it was horrible. So Chris came to my house one day and he goes, "Hey man, is this what you've been playing?" I never played keyboards before in his life, or piano. I'd played a few years piano, and he started playing the stuff I'd written. I was like, "Man, that's awesome. You learn."